Hey guys, I'm back today after a very long break this summer, and I'm happy to do a video about my wrap up of the month of August and the lovely things I've read. The month of August was weird because I didn't have internet. Actually, I didn't have internet for 3 weeks in July, and I didn't have it for 10 days when I was on holiday at my mother-in-law's, because you know my mother-in-law doesn't have internet. She don't want to know. So I then decided to do something. Since we were going to be there for 10 days, I decided to do hashtag 9 and 9, which is to read 9 books in 9 days. But I kind of failed, but it's okay. I mean, what I did was I chose books that were around 230 or 40 pages and under, and then I just tried to read a book a day. So I'm going to give you the rundown of the things that I read, and so we're going to start with the first one, which is Eteka, Rise of the Imamba by Ben Henson. If you want to know what I thought about this book, you can check out my review video, which I will link below. Then I received The Fire This Time as a review copy from NetGalley, except I was reading it on ebook, and I loved it so much that when I came home, I ordered this physical copy, and it's gorgeous. Okay, this is a series of essays written by some prominent African American authors about what it is to be Black in America today, and these essays were combined into The Fire This Time by Jesmyn Ward. And I think if you haven't heard Jesmyn Ward, you should look her up. She's known for having written a book called, I think it's called The Men We Reap, and the second other book that I know she wrote is called Salvage the Bones. But this is an incredible book. This is probably one of the best books of 2016. So if you haven't picked it up, definitely do. It's very short, just under 200 and maybe 20 pages. The writers in this book that are writing the different essays are, I mean, you even have one is Isabel Wilkerson. You have Mitchell S. Jackson, Edwige Danticat, Kevin Young. It's pretty awesome. Very good read. 5 stars. So since I read The Fire This Time, I figured I would follow it up with the classic from Baldwin that everybody is either already read or should read or is about to read or in the process of reading, is The Fire Next Time. Now, I don't have very much to say about this book because everybody pretty much knows about it. It's gone around BookTube quite a bit. It's really a very interesting read. A very heartfelt read because he's writing from the real, you know, and it's fantastic. It's a really good read, and it's super short. In some cases, I think it's almost too short because you just kind of want more and more and more. But it's about 105 pages, but it's excellent. Then I picked up How to Be Black by Baratunde Thurston. And this book is fantastic. I heard about this book from AJ Reads, Alan over at AJ Reads. If you haven't seen her wonderful review, because I can't say anything about this book as well as she did. If you haven't seen the video that she's done on How to Be Black, I will definitely link that below, and go check out AJ Reads' channel. It's fantastic. But this is a type of memoir, but it's written with a very honest voice, but also very humoristic. It's got a little bit of sarcasm to it, and it also goes into this whole idea of what people consider to be, you know, black, and what is black and what is not, and this kind of thing. But at the same time, Baratunde Thurston is talking about his life and how it went, and it's a great read. Very short, but a very interesting read for a memoir. Next, I picked up A Cup of Rage by Raduan Narsar, and this is what I thought about that. This book, I don't get stuff like this. I mean, this is a novella. It's 45 pages of blah 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 blah, and saying absolutely nothing in any of it. It's just this pretentious, overwritten drivel of 43 pages, and I wouldn't recommend this to anybody. I think I gave it 1 freaking star. Now, I gave it 2 stars to be nice because he can write, but he ain't got nothing to say in this one. Nothing. Next, I picked up The Vegetarian by Han Kang, and this was really, really good. Now, this book really surprised me because I was very unsure about this one. I saw that it had gone around BookTube, quite a bit in springtime. And I saw a couple of reviews. I saw Steve Reed's Books review. I think I saw what Kamel Reed's review. Saw a couple of other reviews. And I thought, hey, why not? I'll pick it up. So I picked it up and I decided to read it this summer. And it is the most body-shaking, moving, and just traumatic, and it's just all these things combined. It really upsets you a little bit when you read this. There's something in it that doesn't make you feel comfortable, and it makes you ask a lot of philosophical questions about a lot of things. And another thing about it is it's beautifully written. The writing style is excellent. You actually really get into the story. And this is the thing, because I was thinking I wasn't going to like this one at all. But I really did like it, and I like the way she decides to tell the story she starts the first person point of view from the main character's husband. And then the next part, she jumps to a third person point of view. And I found that very poignant to do that, because it had, it gave quite a good insight on this family and, their problems and, the stuff that's going to come next. And yeah, really good read. I read through it very quickly because I was submerged while reading this one. It was like coming up for air, like, when you swim and you go through the deep end and you go underwater. It was like that. I mean, it was just fantastic. I thought it was a very good read. I gave it 4 stars. Then next, I picked up God Help the Child by Toni Morrison, the Queen Toni Morrison. This book was, its main focus is sexual abuse of children, just abuse in general of children. And it's funny, I thought it was a good book, but I didn't think it was great, and I didn't think it was one of her better books. And one of the main reasons why is because I think she tries to say way too many things in this little tiny book of, it's very short, 178 pages. It's way too short to be talking about 5-6 different subjects. And so you have the impression that you're reading many short stories that kind of connect, and the main character, which is pretty much the girl that's on the front cover of this book, is someone who has a complex personality, but that we only seem to see part of it. Like, we don't see as much of it as we should. So it made me feel distance from this character. Otherwise, it has some really good themes, which is, you have the theme of family and your position as a child in that family, whether you're the oldest or the youngest or the middle or whatever. You also have this theme of mother-daughter relationship. You have this theme of colorism. You have this theme of child abuse. sexual child abuse. You have a little bit of this also theme of beauty and what is considered to be beautiful and what is not. She talks about a lot of things, but it's almost like she starts and then she drops the ball and then she picks up another one. She runs with that one and she stops that one, picks up another one. And so you get a lot of good things that are starting, but they never get deeply rooted. They never get deeply explained. And it winds up being a book that you're like, okay, why does she write that? Too many questions, not enough answers, and just not enough depth to the story. It's way too short, unfortunately. But I did give it 3 stars. So I wouldn't, if somebody has never read Toni Morrison before, I would not suggest that they start with this one. I would suggest you start with something like maybe Song of Solomon or maybe The Bluest Eye, something like that, but not this. It's way too sketchy and light. Then next I read Mothering Sunday by Graham Swift. This is another really short book. It is only 132 pages. And I picked this one up because I don't know that much about Graham Swift. I'd heard, a few people talk about Graham Swift, so I went and looked and I picked this one up. And it is a very interesting read, this one, because it pretty much talks about women and what women can do at this period, because this takes place in, I think it's 1920s, I think is what it is. And like it says on the inside cover, how will Jane Fairchild, orphan and housemaid, occupy her time when she has no mother to visit? How, shaped by the events of this never to be forgotten day, will her future unfold? Okay, so like it says, it's Jane Fairchild. Already the name is quite, ordinary and plain Jane, like it doesn't really stand out. The fact that she's an orphan is a really important part of the story. And basically you follow her one afternoon. Like I would say 3/4 of the book is this one afternoon that we follow her and see what happens to her. And from there, from that afternoon, there are some events that happen that change the families that the family that she works for and the family next door to the house where she works. There's some changes that are going to happen because of what happens this afternoon that we follow Jane Fairchild. And from then we follow Jane Fairchild as she gets older and how she changes jobs and is no longer a housemaid. It kind of shows a woman in the 20s and how she progresses if given the chance, if there's something that happens that will allow her to progress, and how some women don't progress and why they don't, and this kind of thing. And it asks a lot of questions. Now I did have some issues with the book. One of the main ones is like at one point she starts idolizing Joseph Conrad, and I think at one point in the book she says she's in love with Joseph Conrad, and I'm like, really in love with, like not in love like that, but like she thinks he's very attractive and everything. And I'm thinking, this is when it started to feel like it was Graham Swift's voice through this woman, because I had a hard time believing any woman in 1924 would think that Joseph Conrad was hot, but whatever. But yeah, it was interesting to read. I gave it 3 stars. I wouldn't say it was, the best read, but it wasn't the worst either. It was a good book. And then last but not least, I picked up Crick Crack by Edwige Danticat, and I absolutely love this book. I gave this book 5 stars. It is a collection of connected short stories, and they either deal with Haitians that are immigrating abroad or Haitians that are already living in New York or about Haitians back at home in Haiti. And through this story, you learn a lot about Haitian history. You learn a lot about their culture and their mores and the things that they hold dear to them. And you also have this sense of how people keep a grip on their culture when they are living now in another country and are expected to assimilate, to that culture. And it's a very moving story, and it's got a little bit of magical realism and some superstition and things like that in it. And it's just beautifully written and just a gorgeous collection of short stories, beautifully written. I'm not sure if this is one of her first books or not. I'm not very sure about that, but if I do know, I'll link it, put something here on the screen or below. But it was a finalist for the National Book Award, as you can see here. And I figure, I think if you haven't picked up any Don't Cat, and I feel like, girl, why have you not read any Don't Cat? Because she's the bomb, I feel really bad I haven't read any stuff. This is the first one I've read, but I would definitely say pick this one up. I mean, I would say this is a pretty good place to start. It was my first one, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and probably will reread it sometime pretty soon because I really did enjoy some of the things in here. And apparently there is a, if you're interested in reading more, she's got quite a few books out, but we'll definitely be picking more of Don't Cat up probably next year because I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, if you want to read more or hear more about what I thought about Crick Crack, you can go over to my blog, Brown Girl Reading. I will link below the link for the blog post for this book. So that's all I read in the month of August, the slot here. And I usually don't read that much in the month of August because it's just complicated. But since I had no internet in August for like maybe 2 weeks of August, that allowed me to get quite a lot of reading in since I don't usually watch TV here in France so much. So that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this wrap up. I am back in the game. I've just been working and getting back into the rhythm of the school year since school just started the 1st of September, but I started work on the 5th of September or something like that, like the 7th or 6th or something like that. So I've been a little busy with work and hadn't had time to get back into the video making, but don't worry, more videos are going to come. I think it was tagged with a this and that. I'm gonna have to try that, I don't know. And I think I have a book haul coming. Yeah, so don't worry, there will be more videos really soon. I'll get back at it. Hope you guys are having a great weekend, and I'll see you back with another video very soon.